Welcome back, Jimmy Flick. There are 5 UFC newcomers on the prelims coming up this week, and there is basically a guaranteed knockout in the featured prelim. So the 5 UFC newcomers, several from Dana White's Contender Series. There's Claudio Ribeiro. He's in the featured prelim at middleweight against Abdul, Razak, Alhassan. Nick Fiore, late replacement. He was just slotted in a couple of weeks ago. He's fighting Mateusz Rebecki, also a newcomer. He fought on Dana White's Contender Series, got a first-round finish. Mateusz Mendonça is a sizable underdog against Javid Basharat. Let's zero in on this featured prelim. Here's why I say it's basically a guaranteed knockout. Abdul Razak Alhassan, 11 wins, all 11 wins by knockout, all of them in the first round. His longest fight that he won has gone 4 minutes and 21 seconds. He has 7 knockouts in under a minute. That includes his most recent win, which was back in 2021. It was against Alessio Di Chirico. I was on the call for that one. He knocked him out with a head kick in 17 seconds. It was like right as me and Felder were saying, you can't blink with this guy, look out. And he just uncorks this huge head kick and knocks out Alessio Di Chirico. But here's what he's up against. Claudio Ribeiro, newcomer from Brazil off of Dana White's Contender Series. Guess what he did last August? 25-second knockout in Dana White's Contender Series. That gets him the contract. He used to be a dancer. On his bio, it says, I used to be a dancer. I got invited to go to a boxing class with a friend. The rest is history. Ribeiro is 10-2 pro record, 10 wins by knockout. 8 of them have come in the first round. I would not go to grab a beer or hit the restroom when these two get to fight. Next one, flyweight, as I said. Welcome back, Jimmy Flick. I was so excited to see his name on the list late last year when it was announced that he would be returning. Now, if you've forgotten about Jimmy the Brick from Tulsa, Oklahoma, he was on Dana White's Contender Series back in 2020. He won via third-round submission. He had a story, man. He battled through some drug addiction. His dad and his brothers, I think, dealt with drug addiction and were dealing with drug addiction, and he was hoping that him getting to the highest level of MMA would inspire them to clean their act up, because he ultimately cleaned his act up from the drugs, and he pursues mixed martial arts, and wouldn't you know it, he finds himself all the way in the UFC. A few months later, fights Cody Durden in December. Flying triangle submission in the first round. I mean, it was wild. He's won 14 of his 16 wins by submission, and one was a flying triangle in the UFC debut. But after that, he retired. And I hope that he's in the right state of mind to come back and join the mix in the flyweight division, because he's a super exciting fighter. Charles Johnson, if you remember last year, he broke into the UFC, 1-1. He had a split decision victory to get his win late last year against Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Biggest favorite on the prelims is Mateusz Rebecki, who is 16-1 and on a 13-fight winning streak. This is a lightweight from Poland. Kind of reminds me of Mateusz Gamrot a little bit. Well-rounded striker and grappler, but just a guy that's not the biggest in the division, but he seems to have a gas tank for days. He seems to have all the skills in the world, especially in the grappling department. Stocky, really strong guy. I think he's minus 700 as the biggest favorite on the entire fight card. He welcomes Nick Fiore. Now, Nick Fiore is out of New England. He's on the New England Cartel, and that is a very tight-knit team, right? There's one thing if you train at Extreme Couture, there's 30 UFC fighters, if not more, from Extreme Couture in Las Vegas. American Top Team, same thing, right? They're factories of these great gyms with a lot of fighters. The New England Cartel is not that way. Tyson Chartier is the head coach. He has Calvin Kattar. He has Rob Font, both in the top 10 of their respective divisions. And now Nick Fiore is the other one. And I've talked to Tyson several times over the years. And I said, like, who's the next one? Like, I know that you don't just coach these two guys. And he says, well, Nick Fiore will be here soon. They are really high on this kid. He's 25 years old. He's 6-0. And he's finished all 6 of them. So we'll see if Nick Fiore can pull what would be a massive upset against this prospect, Mateusz Rebecki from Poland. Those are the 3 fights that I'm most looking forward to in terms of the storylines. I do want to shout out Javid Basharat. Of course, his brother Farid Basharat got a Contender Series contract last year. Javid Basharat, a couple of years ago, fought into the UFC on Dana White's Contender Series. Basharat, the elder, is 27 years old. He's 13-0. He won on Dana White's Contender Series, and now he's 2-0 in the UFC. Here's what I want to see from Javid Basharat, because I think he, in his mind, believes he belongs in the top 15 or knows that he can compete with the fighters in the top 15 of the UFC's bantamweight division, which is saying something based on how deep and talented the 135-pound division is in the UFC right now. But for Javid Basharat, he's been very technically sound, but he doesn't have that signature moment. He doesn't have that exciting fight back and forth or just a dominant showing, finish or not. So that's what fight fans, I think, like to see from these prospects before they crown them as a future contender or a ranked prospect to watch. With Adrian Yanez, right, similar in stature in terms of he was an exciting prospect off of Dana White's Contender Series, but Yanez has had some highlight reel knockouts to kind of back it up. And that's why he's getting a big fight against Rob Font coming up in, I believe, April. For Javid Basharat, he wants to be thought of as a guy who belongs in the top 15, or at the very least on the cusp of being a ranked contender. He needs to do a little bit more than just win on the scorecards. And we'll see if he can do that this weekend against Mateusz Mendonça.